Meadows, our first guest, former Trump White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. He's also a former House member. He is also the former president of the Freedom Caucus. Now, I don't think he wants to punish success, but I guess we better ask him. So, Chief, welcome back. What is your opinion about punishing success? Tell us, please.
Well, listen, we had one of the most vibrant economies under the Trump administration. Before you actually went to work for Donald Trump, Larry, you and I sat down with our good friend Steve Moore, kind of mapped out how we could get this economy going again. And it was about lowering taxes, about lowering the burden, not just on corporate America, but on all Americans. And when we look at this, we're looking at a wealth redistribution, but it's not going to go back to the hardworking American men and women in this country. It's going to go to Washington, D.C. politicians, or it's going to go to China. It's the wrong policy at the wrong time. In what we also know is wages went up when we reduced corporate taxes. You know, you don't have to look back that far, just a few years ago, where you could start to see wages going up, unemployment going down, and Biden has it all wrong.
So I guess the next bunch of questions, are the Democrats really going to get this through? Is this really going to happen? Can it be stopped? Are Republicans going to be able to hold back? Are they reliable, Mark Meadows? I mean, that's really when I want to take this. You have a lot of political wisdom. You yourself have been in the game for quite a while. What's going to happen here?
Well, I think ultimately what's going to happen is America is going to speak up. Republicans, both in the House and in the Senate, are going to push back. But even some moderate Democrats who saw that when you lowered taxes, it actually lowered the burden on the people that they are elected to serve. And so I think what we will start to see is, even with a 50-vote threshold in the Senate, that it will not muster the kind of votes to actually increase taxes. You know, we don't just see it here, though, Larry. We're seeing it also with the Secretary of Transportation saying we need to start billing people based on the miles they drive. Well, start talking about people in West Virginia. You start talking about people in Texas and some of these other states where they drive a long ways. That's another tax that they're talking about that ultimately will affect the hardworking American men and women. So I don't see it passing, but I do think we have to be vigilant about it, because if not, it's going to mean jobs are lost.
Mark, you know, the House Republican Conference, bless their hearts, voted to restore earmarks. That is not a good leading indicator.
No, it's not a good leading indicator, and actually it's a pay-to-play kind of scheme. You know, when you look at what they're talking about, earmarks, they're going to have a few little I guess, crumbs of money that they can pass out. And I hate to say crumbs because that's a Nancy Pelosi word. But if you look at it, they're going to buy votes based on earmarks. It was not a good move by the Republicans, but hopefully they will come to their senses and realize that when you increase taxes, you get less of what we really want, which is economic growth. And it's important for all your viewers, all the people listening right now, they need to make sure that their senators and House members know exactly where they stand. They want more money in their pocket, not less money in their pocket. Increasing taxes only goes one way, and it's against the American consumer.
And Mark, finally, I mean, look, this will be called an infrastructure bill because infrastructure has a patina of popularity. But it is a Trojan horse for the Green New Deal, which will destroy the energy economy and perhaps the rest of the economy. It's a Trojan horse for these massive tax hikes to redistribute income and stop growth. It's also, Mark, a Trojan horse for what they're now calling a social infrastructure, which is a huge increase in the welfare state without a single jobs benefit incentive. No incentives to work, purely government dole, ultimately leading to universal basic income. I think it's important that these, you know, Trojan horses be opened up, and so people realize what's out there.
Well, Larry, you're exactly right. We don't have to look that far. We can look to our neighbors very close to socialist countries to our south in Latin America and Central America. We can look to the socialist countries to our east. And when you look at that, it is a recipe for disaster. We've got the greatest economy in the world. Had it not been for this pandemic that came in, we would just be soaring to new heights. And yet to suggest that what we're going to do is add an additional burden on top of that, Larry, it's just not going to work. But you're right. It is a Trojan horse designed to get all kinds of progressive, left-leaning agenda items moved through Congress under the auspices of new roads and bridges. It just doesn't work.
And the Transportation Secretary, by the way, who said he wants to subtract roads, he's not really a car guy. I'm going to leave that for another segment. Former Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming on, as always.